If you've ever spent a Saturday morning on your knees ripping dandelions out by hand only to watch them grow right back a week later, you already know the tool matters more than the effort. I dug through actual current listings, specs, and real buyer feedback to find 6 weeding tools that are genuinely worth your money. Let's start with the one I'd skip. Number 6 is the Walensee Action Hoe for weeding. An adjustable stirrup hoe with a triangular hollow head and a rubber grip that extends anywhere from about 36 to 66 inches depending on which length variant you pick. It assembles in about a minute with no tools required, and it's built for push-pull weeding across larger open areas rather than precision work around individual plants. Pricing shifts by handle length, but expect somewhere around $35 to $45. The catch shows up in the reviews themselves. Buyers report the blade isn't especially sharp straight out of the box, and it performs noticeably better in soft or recently watered soil than in anything compacted or dry. A chunk of the lower ratings trace back to durability complaints and returns tied to that dull edge. For clearing a big overgrown bed fast, it still gets the job done. Just know you may want to touch up that blade with a file before your first real session. Before we go further, here's a quick heads up. One tool on this list has been in continuous production since 1913 and is still one of the best-selling weed pullers in the country, and it's not the priciest thing here. We'll get to it. Number 5 is the Fiskars Ergo Garden Hand Weeder. This is a small hand tool with a cast aluminum angled head, a forked tip, and a soft grip ergonomic handle designed specifically to reduce hand and wrist fatigue during longer sessions. It's often available for well under $15, and it's frequently on sale closer to $9. The angled head gives you real leverage for a hand tool, and the aluminum construction resists rust, so it holds up season after season. The honest limitation is scope. This is a kneeling, close-range tool built for individual weeds within arm's reach. It has no leverage for standing use, no reach for large beds, and it's not going to touch a deep taproot the way a longer tool can. Think of it as the tool you keep by the back door for the 5-minute weeding session, not the tool you bring out for a whole afternoon in an overgrown yard. For what it costs, it's hard to argue with. Number 4 is Grampa's Weeder, the original stand-up weed puller with a real bamboo handle and a 4-claw steel head. And this brand has genuinely been making this exact design since 1913. It's a 45-inch lever action tool. You step on it, rock it back, and the claws pry the weed and root out of the ground without you bending, kneeling, or touching a single weed. It typically sells for around $36 to $45. It carries strong reviews across retailers, and a huge share of that comes down to the simplicity of the design. There's almost nothing on it to break. The honest catch comes straight from the product's own listing. It may not perform as well in hard clay or rocky ground, and it works best after a good rain or watering when the soil has some give to it. There's also a small learning curve to the stomp and rock motion, and because the ejection is manual, you'll be tapping the tool on the ground between pulls instead of getting an automatic release. None of that stops it from being one of the most trusted names in this category. It just means read the instructions before your first use. Number 3 is the Fiskars Deluxe Stand-Up Weed Puller, the 4-claw version, model 339950-1001. This is the direct upgrade over the 3-claw pick from earlier on this list, and the difference shows in the reviews. Roughly 85% of its Amazon ratings land at 4 or 5 stars. It has a 39.25-inch handle, 4 serrated stainless steel claws instead of 3, a reinforced foot platform that Fiskars says is 30% stronger than earlier versions, an offset handle to reduce wrist strain, and a viewing window so you can actually see the weed before you step down. It typically runs about $40 to $49 depending on retailer. The trade-off is soil dependent. It performs best in softer ground, and in hard-packed or rocky soil, the plastic foot platform is the piece most likely to crack under pressure. A handful of buyers were also underwhelmed by the customer service experience when they tried to use the lifetime warranty. Still, for most lawns after a normal rain, this is one of the more dependable stand-up pullers you can buy. Number 2 is the Corona Clipper SH63000 Heavy-Duty Weeding Hoe. This is a completely different tool category. A 60-inch American ash handle attached to a tempered, abrasion-resistant steel blade that's notched and sharpened to cut on both the push and the pull stroke. Total length comes in around 63 inches, and the whole thing weighs about 1.6 pounds. Light enough to swing through a bed for an hour without your arms giving out. It's built specifically for fibrous, overgrown weeds like thistle, bindweed, and clumping grass, and it lets you work standing completely upright. Here's the honest trade-off, straight from an actual buyer's account. In a lot of cases, this hoe is slicing weeds off about half an inch below the surface rather than pulling the whole root out. So with stubborn perennial weeds, some regrowth is genuinely possible. For clearing a large, badly overgrown area fast, it's still one of the most efficient tools on this list. Just don't expect it to permanently solve a taproot problem in one pass, the way a dedicated weed puller will. Number 1, the best overall pick on this list, is the Nisaku NJP 650 Hori-Hori weeding knife. This is a Japanese-made garden knife with a 7¼ inch stainless steel blade that has both a serrated edge and a straight edge, a 5¼ inch wood handle, and it weighs about 10 ounces total. Inch markings are etched right into the blade so you can check planting depth as you go, and it comes with a sheath. It typically sells somewhere between $22 and $29. This tool has racked up more than 7,000 ratings on Amazon, sitting at close to a perfect 5-star average, which is an enormous amount of real-world validation for a single garden tool. Gardening experts consistently point to a good soil knife like this as the single most useful tool in the shed, because the serrated edge saws through tough roots, while the straight edge and pointed tip handle digging, dividing, and planting, all with the same blade. The honest trade-off is that it's still a hand tool. You're kneeling or crouching to use it, there's no standing leverage, and the blade is genuinely sharp enough that you need to handle it with real care. But for sheer versatility and proven satisfaction across thousands of buyers, nothing else on this list does as much with one tool. So here's how I'd sort all of this by what you actually need. If you want one all-purpose tool that digs, plants, and weeds, the Nisaku Hori-Hori is the one to buy first. If your knees or your back can't handle bending over for deep taproots, the Radius Garden 205 PRO is the stand-up option built specifically for that job. If you're clearing full vegetable rows, the Haas Stirrup Hoe or the Corona Clipper will move faster than any hand tool ever could. And if you just want a reliable, no-drama weed puller for a normal suburban lawn, Grampa's Weeder or the Fiskars 4-Claw will do the job without overcomplicating things. If this saved you from buying the wrong tool for your yard, subscribe for more real spec-checked buying guides like this one, and drop a comment telling me which of these you're actually going to try. I read every single one.